Okay, now we've got the left hand for K545, third movement. Okay, so we've got 1 and 3 on A and C going to F. So it's acting like an F major here. So scratch, scratch, hold, come away. And then now we're doing something which looks like we're making an E minor chord. Scratch, scratch, hold, come away. And then 2 on F. And don't forget the dotted note means that the crotchet is divided into 3 of its halves. So 3 quavers. So 1 and 2 and 1 and rest. And so from the beginning, I'll do that again. And then the next half, so 1 and 2 on A and C this time, because we're going to go to D minor. So D and F, rest, and then G and B, and then 3 and 5 on C and E, which is our C chord, and move our 3 and 5 up for F and A, and then the 7th note, and then C, so C and E goes to C. Okay, then we've got section B, we've got a C our birdie, we've got a G our birdie, we've got a D our birdie, D major our birdie, and then G in root position, G in first inversion, A minor in first inversion, A major in first inversion, and D. So C, G, D, G, G, A minor, A major, D. The A major is a secondary dominant taking us to D. Now, we start the same, so we've got the C major chord, but now we have a B minor chord. So B minor chord is B, D, F sharp. So white, come off, and then we've got 2 voices happening in the next bar, which is bar 16, so we've got the 5th. Now leave the thumb, change the bottom note to F, D, then change the top note to F sharp, and then G, G, so 1 and 2 and 1. So there should be 2 notes at all times. So 2 notes, change the bottom note, but there's still 2 notes. Change the top note, there's still 2 notes, and then 1, 1. Okay, bar 17, we've got G and B. Now make sure this one got strong, weak. Make sure that low G is weak. Don't thump it, and that happens again. And then we have lots of rests. Okay, now we're doing section A again. So F major looking like chord, E minor looking chord, then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and now A minor looking like going to D minor, and then G major looking like going to C major, and then hold F and A, 1 and 2, and then we've got our 7th, G and B, and then 1 and 2 on C, D, and that's the end of that section. Now we've got the section where the left hand takes the melody, so here we go. That was making a nice A minor chord and fly away, and then we've got these 1 and 2 for this song, so doing a G sharp diminished, which is G sharp, B, D, so 1, scratch, scratch, hold, rest. So I'll just do from the beginning of that section. And rest, rest. Now 3 on E. There's middle C. So right in the middle of the piano, and we're going to put our hand quite far in, like that. So that you can see I've got my hand at an angle. So my 4th finger nicely gets that D sharp there without having to move much. And then we've got a scale in thirds, starting with C and E, and then swap for 2 and 4 on D and F, swap for 3 and 1 on E and G, and then 1 and 2 on F and A. And we're going to hold the A at the top. We're not going to hold the F sharp because it's going to change with the C sharp. See how that one came up? D, E, but this is still holding, and now we're into F and A. So if I did that from, where was it, bar 20, about halfway through bar 28. Okay, now we have an E major arpeggio, and then we have an A minor arpeggio, and again an E major, and again an A minor. And put 3 on the E in the middle again, and we do that little pattern again, rest, rest, Now we jump a hand to put pinky on E, and our pinky's going to steer and our thumb's going to follow. E, E, C, making those nice 6. And now D, D, B. But notice I have to twist my hand so that I can get my G sharp there. So a little bit of coming into the forest and trying to keep my hand in alignment. Now I've got G and B, but don't be fooled. There's a G sharp earlier in the bar, so it's G sharp and B. Then A and C, and then 2 and 4 over, and then C and E. Now change the bottom note only, and then jump to 1 and 5 on D and A. Now only change the bottom note, and then 3 and 5. So that's quite a fun bit. And then jump to 6 with E on the bottom, and change the top note so that we've got the A minor, we've got the E or E, it'd be E major 7th, but the G sharp is in the other hand, so you can't hear it. And then A minor, so 4 on A, then pinky on E, 4 on A, pinky on E, 4 on A, and then pinky on G, which is our change into our G7 chord. So A minor E, A minor E, A minor E, A minor G7, pause on the rest. Now we do the section A again. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 5 on F, 2, 3, 7th C. Okay, now the last section is our coda. So we put 4 on F. So notice da, da, and then C chord da, 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 D minor, C chord in a different second version, and then G7 in root position, then C chord in root position, 4th finger. And then 4 on the F, C chord first inversion, 4 on the F for G7, C chord first inversion, D minor first inversion, C major first inversion, G7. That would be even. So now that you've got the chords, caterpillar, 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 caterpillar. And now this is the bit that I said is tricky with the fingering. So 3, 1, 5, 1, 3, 1, 5, 3. So notice how thumb is every second note. 3, 1, 5, oops, 3, 1, 5, 1, 3, 1, 5, 3, and then thumb on G and thumb on low G. And we do it again. 3, 1, 5, 1, 3, 1, 5, 1, thumb, G, G, octaves, and then we've got our, if you can reach the octaves, we're going to just make a C chord. C, E, G, E, C. So that just finishes it. Hold and off. And that's the whole left hand. So go have fun learning.